Hello and welcome to the next round of the Pac-Man World 2 2020 80% speedrun. Today we have Frogs, the #1 seed, against Techstrobe, the #9 seed. It should be a pretty interesting match. We are getting started a little late just because the match before this one ran a little long, but everything should be good now. And we should be ready to go whenever the runners are ready to start. Let me go ahead and message them and see. And it looks like Techstrobe is off, and so is Frogs. So this this first world of the game is basically the tutorial world. It only takes about 3 minutes to complete. At first level, only takes about 19 seconds. But now you'll see them going into bare basics, which is the tutorial level of the game. It basically, for a casual player, just describes the movement and the different basic features of the game. And the main movement tech in this game is the rev roll. It's basically sort of a sonic spin dash, and that's the main method of going fast in the game, and you'll see them use that throughout pretty much the entire run. As Techstrobe is currently finishing up bare basics, he is a few seconds ahead. I think they're about tied once the timers line up. Now they're on to Canyon Chaos, which is the next level. This is the level where it really gets sort of interesting because there's a lot of bottomless, and as you can see, Frogs just died. There's a lot of bottomless pits in this level, and if you fall down them, you'll have to go back. It is a relatively short level in the game, probably the shortest or one of the shortest, and Frogs messed up the rev roll again. As you can see, that first rev roll uses goes off of the level geometry to basically skip the first few platforms, and unfortunately, Frogs messed up a few times, but it looks like he's got it now, and he is almost towards the end. Techstrobe is in Pac-Pond, the last level of World 1, and he is about to do a strat called Waterless, and he unfortunately missed it. What you'll see there is there's a way to get over all of the water by rev rolling in certain platforms, and Techstrobe actually messed up the rev roll there, which might give Frogs time to catch up. Let's see if Frogs can do Waterless. Now he just opts to go around it. Okay. And Techstrobe's now onto the first boss fight of the game. Blinky's Frog. This boss is kind of interesting because his invincibility frames refresh while the game is paused, and you're able to hit him from the side. So you'll see him hit him and then pause, wait for the invincibility frames to run out, and hit the boss again to get extra hits. Typically, you can get 3 or 4 hits. Looks like Techstrobe's going to get a 2 cycle here. Frogs is most likely going to get a 1 cycle. Yes. So it looks like they are pretty close now since Frogs are able to get a 1 cycle. But he is now on to World 2. They're both onto World 2, starting with Bedoing Woods. So this introduces the Bedoings, and you'll see the first sequence break of the run here by Techstrobe saves about 16 seconds by blind rev rolling into those Bedoings. And they're about now towards the end. And you'll see Techstrobe you'll see both of them grab that power pellet, which, Techstrobe rev rolled too low, which gives Frogs a chance to pull out ahead. But you'll see them grab that power pellet so the ghosts don't hit them when they rev roll. And now on to Treewood Forest, where they introduce the saws, which, surprisingly, they hurt if you touch them. But the benefit of the saws is you can sometimes take a little bit of damage to get a boost off of them if you need to, and you'll see them do that in a moment. And Frogs falls. Wow, it's really becoming a match of trading deaths here. And Frogs is sent back quite a bit, which gives Techstrobe the lead, and I'm not quite sure what Techstrobe just did there. He's currently at no health, so he's got to be careful of these saws. And Techstrobe getting to the end of the level. He misses the saw as he has no health left. And Frogs is almost there as well. And Techstrobe's game is... or his stream is frozen. Not quite sure what happened. His stream died, yeah, I can tell. Hopefully... Anyway, Frogs just did another sequence break in the run in Butane Pain. He was able to rev roll around a death barrier to get to the little area with the lives, which skips a decent amount of time, or skips part of the level that takes a decent amount of time. And you'll see him do a strat here called Chrome Ball Skip, where you're able to actually go through the fire if you're pretty fast without having to stop and get a Chrome Ball. I'm not quite sure what's happening with Techstrobe at the moment. Oh, and Techstrobe's stream is back. Okay. And it appears that they're both pretty close. Techstrobe about a second ahead. They're going into World 3 now. The Snow World, Ice World, whatever you want to call it. In Ice River Run is the first level. And in fact, Mantra, who was going to commentate this match, he actually found quite a few new strats for this level a few days ago. But the main strat that you'll see them do in this level is basically just abuse the ice physics and be able to maintain a bunch of momentum because of how the ice works. And they're able to skip these little frozen lakes that will otherwise kill you. And Techstrobe is finishing up the level right in front of Frogs. And now they're onto Avalanche Alley, which is a major run killer in the run. You're rev-rolling towards the camera, which can be risky if you don't know where you're going, but there's also a lack of checkpoints throughout the level, so dying has a pretty big setback. And so you don't want to die in the level, but you also want to know where you're going, and you're also trying to go fast, which means that you may try to do specific strats that will increase your speed, but that are pretty risky. And here you'll see the first instance of wind boosting. Those little wind things are supposed to boost you in a direction, give you a slight boost. But if you rev roll into them for some reason, it gives you an insane amount of speed. Oh, and Techstrobe missed Pab Skip. Oh no. Basically, you could skip that by doing a little small rev roll, but unfortunately, Techstrobe messed up. Anyway, the wind boost gives you an insane amount of speed, and you'll see them use it in this tunnel. Now, this is very risky, as you can't really control where you're going. And again, if you die, it does set you back a decent bit. And it looks like Frog is finishing up the level. And so he is now on to Blade Mountain, which is kind of an interesting level. You can't butt bounce, you can't rev roll. So the main way to go fast in this level is to make sure you're just going as straight as possible. When Pac-Man's hands are behind his back, that means he's gaining momentum, and he's trying to go as fast as possible, and you don't want to be hit by one of the icicles because it makes you lose a lot of momentum. And there are several ramps throughout the level that either can be skipped or you don't have to jump on. That also saves a little bit of time. and Frogs was able to get the ramp skip there. There's enough room for you to jump on the side and skip that ramp altogether. Sorry. Looks like Techstrobe's stream froze again. Hopefully it will revive itself like it did last time. And Frogs is nearing the end of Blade Mountain. And he is now heading into the third boss fight of the game. Inky. This one's kind of like a Inky. There goes me not being able to say the ghost names correctly again. But it's sort of like Inky, except for the last two phases have 3 hits instead of 2, and you can't get 3 hits out of a single rev roll. So you have to stop rev rolling after 2 hits and get the third. And that was a very good Pinky from Frogs. And he is now into World 4. And this world is all about rev rolling off of different parts of level geometry. Basically anything that has momentum, he will probably be rev rolling off of. And Techstrobe stream is back. And Techstrobe's now on Pinky. It looks like he got a solid Pinky as well, so good job to him. And Frogs died into the volcano. So Frogs makes it to the final room of Into the Volcano as Techstrobe gets into the level. But Frogs died again, and he is waiting for the platform to return. And Frogs is able to finish the level. Now you'll see Frogs go into Volcanic Panic, which is the next level, obviously, but it contains the second largest skip in the game. You'll see him grab the chrome ball at the beginning, and he will try to save it for as long as he can, as he will get to this point and he will clip it down below into this lava plane. And when you jump to the end, you can actually get to the end of the level, to the level complete area, if you are quick enough. You have to be very fast or the chrome ball will run out and you'll die. But as you can see, Frogs makes it down there and he completes the level. You do have to be careful there when you're jumping down, though, because there is invisible lava that will kill you if you are not careful enough. But Frogs was able to complete it pretty well, and that saves about 3.5 minutes. And Techstrobe falls into the volcano. As Frogs is now onto Magma Opus, the last level in World 4. And Techstrobe completes into the volcano. You'll see Frogs get that chrome ball out of the way, so he's able to do quicker platforming in the lava area, so he can just jump on the lava instead of having to actually take the platforms. This last slide, you're supposed to have to slide down it and go through many sections, but the entire thing is actually loaded in... Ooh, wait. Oh, Frogs made it. Okay. It was a little confusing, but he made it there. And Techstrobe, barely made VP skip. But that entire slide is loaded all at once, so you can actually just jump down to the end and skip the entire slide. And now Frogs is onto Clyde, which is one of the hardest fights in the game. It's like the boss shape is the same as Inky and Pinky, but you cannot rev roll into him. Therefore, it makes it quite a bit more difficult. But there have been several strats that have been developed to actually kill Clyde, and which is the eye balance and rev jumping. You're able to... Clyde's left eye has a hitbox that you can jump onto, and then if you rev roll and then jump within a very short amount of time, only a few frames, you actually get a bigger jump, which is able to get you to the top of Clyde. And Frogs had a very good Clyde, and he's able to complete World 4, and he is now on to the Water World, which is the most boring of the game. It takes about 15 minutes, and all three of the levels are on the rail auto scrollers, so this will be a fun experience. And Techstrobe gets to the end of Magma Opus here. Hopefully we'll get slide skip. And it looks like he got it, I believe. Yes. Really, the only way to go faster in the water world is a strat called mine boosting. You're able to hit a mine and then boost into another mine, and sometimes that will give you a quick burst of speed. But besides that, it's kind of just getting to the end of the level. And Techstrobe's having a little bit of difficulty with Clyde. Misses the fourth phase rev jump. And he's only able to get one hit off on phase 5. And he goes to the end platform where Clyde will end up. Hopefully we'll get this last hit, and he does. So he's now onto the water world as well. As Frogs finishes up Scuba Duba. He's now on to Shark Attack, which is, believe it or not, just a Scuba Duba clone. But I guess with more sharks, maybe? Not even sure. More sharks? Yeah. I would assume so, considering the level is called Shark Attack. There's not much to talk about, though, in the water levels. Kind of just get to the end. Scooby-Doo was such a masterpiece, they copied the design. Yeah, either that or they got immensely lazy. I'm not quite sure who decided the water world was a good idea. Techstrobe has, and Frogs, for that matter, they both have no health. Frogs found the health wedge. They've got to be careful. Frogs has no health again, but does pull off a mind boost. And Frogs finishes up Shark Attack. And now Frogs is onto the best level in the game, Yellow Pac-Marine. 8 minutes of pure enjoyment. Not kidding, the level is actually 8 minutes long. An 8-minute long level with a 3-minute soundtrack. Yes, it is cleverly nicknamed the 8-minute stress test. Takes longer to play than it took to make. Honestly, that's probably true. I feel like someone just decided to randomly place a bunch of mines and ghosts everywhere and called it a level. Techstrobe is now finishing Shark Attack. Now he gets the misfortune of starting Yellow Pack Marine, as Frogs is already a few minutes in. For anyone that maybe have just joined the stream and have watched this and thought to themselves, this game sucks, I promise the game is much better than this. Just stick around. You'll see the last world after this, which is a lot more interesting and is pretty fun. And a decent amount stressful for those actually in runs as well. They made an 8-minute level that's got nothing to look at. Well, I mean, like, if greenish, bluish nothingness is your favorite color, then you probably love the level. How not to make a level. Let's play Sunshine. I'm sure Trey would agree with you. Yeah, it's a game with no 8-minute auto-scrollers, although the game is pretty much all about water. Or I guess paint as well. Paint is just colored water. I really hope Frogs is almost to the end of YPM. I think he is. And Frogs is done with Yellow Pack Marine, thankfully. And now he's on to one of the most risky boss fights of the game, the Mega Whale, or Whale in a Sub, or whatever you want to call it. It basically has 4 propellers. You're supposed to knock each propeller off one by one, but if you're quick enough, you can actually knock all 4 propellers off with one hit, aka a 1 cycle, but it is very difficult, so let's see if Frogs is able to pull it off. I'm not even sure if Frogs goes for a 1 cycle. It looks like he is, though. And he missed the bottom right propeller, which isn't a bad situation at all. A 2 cycle is definitely not bad, and that was close to a 1 cycle. And Frog is able to complete Whale, so we can finally leave these horrid water levels and move on to the final world of the game. Everyone is a YPM god. Or is a YPM good? I'm a kiddie. I think you failed on English on that last one. Unless you die, you. Yeah, McKitty, what? Yeah, we can tell. Basically, Frogs is now on Haunted Boardwalk, a level that has a pretty cool concept. It starts out with easy platforming, and then soon you'll see the easy platforming, but the platforms will start to sink. Then you'll see hard platforming, and then finally you'll see hard platforming with platforms that sink as well. Looks like Techstrobe's stream is once again frozen. And Techstrobe's stream has alived itself. Let's see what Techstrobe gets on Whale. Oh, he misses the bottom left propeller, so he will also get a 2 cycle. And Techstrobe finishes with Whale, as Frogs finishes Haunted Boardwalk. And Frogs is now on to night crawling. This is a pretty cycle-dependent level, but you still want to make it there as fast as possible. You still want to make it to the end as fast as possible. And you'll see Frogs get the strawberry there at the beginning. I mean, not strawberry. Strawberry? Apple? I don't even know which one it is. At the beginning of the level, because he will need it to open a chest afterwards. Apple and strawberry. Well, yeah, I know you have to get an apple and a strawberry, but I don't know which one that was. I think it was the apple. No, it was a cherry. The kid, get it right. I slept for 2 hours today. Well, there's your first problem. Why didn't you sleep for, like, I don't know, longer than 2 hours? You were practicing. Oh, yeah. You have a match at 8. So... Why do I feel like the fact that you only slept 2 hours is going to make you do some crazy things in the match? Yeah, McKitty, we're gonna go ahead and put you on a keyboard ban for like the next 2 hours. You're just not allowed to type anything because I'm not quite sure you know how to type correctly. And Frogs is now once it goes by you, the level that contains the biggest skip of the game. It is supposed to be a very long level, like a very winding maze type level, but for some reason the developers went full psycho mode and decided not to put the invisible wall below the platform so you can therefore rev roll under it and literally land on the platform that is close to the end of the level. As you've probably figured out by far, the developers of this game weren't the smartest ones. They made the water world and they made this. Anyway, Frogs is now on the final pack chain of the level. There's this one last strat at the end called the wait skip. We'll see if Frogs is able to do it. And I believe he did get it. He did. So if he didn't jump there at the end of the pack chain, which is a pretty precise thing to do, he would have had to wait about 5 seconds before the level ended. But now Frog is on to the final boss, Spooky. Basically, here you're able to stunlock Spooky in the first 2 phases, and Frog is dying to reposition himself at the start of the second phase. And he's now on to the final phase, where he'll get 2 stunlock hits and then chase down the Spooky for the last 2 hits. And Frog's got a good Spooky, finishing with a 42:39. That is a pretty good time, especially for a race. So good job, Frogs. He's also moving on. So Frogs will be moving on to face Nacho now in the quarterfinals. And Techstrobe will be going to the losers bracket to face Zandre.
Hello.
Oh, look, there's the man himself, Frogs.
It is I.
Finally, I have someone to talk to. Good job on the run.
Thanks.
Even though you died several times. I'm kidding.
I'm not happy with the way I ran.
Yeah, but a solid 42 is still good for a race.
Yeah, for a race sense, it is pretty good.
Yeah. And you are moving on, so that's a plus as well.
Yes.
And you had a really good Clyde.
I did. That was actually gold.
It was.
Yes. That Clyde was
Nice.
insane.
Yeah, that Clyde was very nice.
Couldn't have asked for a better one. Yeah, my bosses were the only good thing in this run, except for, like, Whale.
Whale wasn't that bad either. I mean, you didn't get the 1 cycle, but at least you didn't get like a 3 cycle.
For sure.
But yeah, you had pretty good bosses. Pinky was very good as well, and Spooky for that matter.
Yeah, I went for the freaking double hit at the end because I had a good setup for it, and it worked.
Yeah, you're able to pull it off. Looks like Techstrobe's getting to Spooky now.
What's the timer at?
45.
Although
I'm not quite sure what happened with Techstrobe because his stream froze a few times throughout the run, and I think one of the times it set him far back in Blade Mountain, but I don't remember. Techstrobe missed the last hit on phase 2. And it looks like... Yeah, okay, he finished with a 46.05. So GG to Techstrobe as well. What Pac-Man World 2 speedrunners. That's pretty good. I don't know if Techstrobe's coming into the channel or not. But that is, I mean, 46.05 is not a bad time for Techstrobe either, so good job to him. He was facing some technical difficulties though, and there he is. Techstrobe. Hello.
There we go. Apparently my...
Oh, whoa.
What?
Feedback.
There, yeah, there he is.
What?
You just had like some very loud background noise when you first talked, but it sounds better now.
Okay, I had to replug my mic.
Well, good job, Techstrobe.
That was
46.
the first run I've done in a month. Complete trash. I haven't
Trying
done
to-
a full run since our last race.
Trying to stay positive, but I'm proud.
I barely even golded anything. I died like 20 times or something.
If it makes you feel better, Frogs died a lot too.
Yeah. I had a rough beginning.
Yeah, Canyon Chaos hit Frogs like a truck.
And then I lost freaking 40 seconds in Treewood because I missed the checkpoint.
Yeah, you missed the checkpoint and then died. Sent all the way back to the beginning. But overall, I think both of you did well. I mean, Techstrobe, I know you didn't do as well as you wanted to, but I think you were still able to get a decent time for a race. But anyway, if that's all we have, then I guess we will see you all for the next race, hopefully, which is not long from now. We have 2 more races today. The next one is in an hour and 48 minutes. It's Jets versus Rallis on SpeedGaming 3 as well. And then in 2 hours after that, at 9 p.m. EST, it's McKitty, the kid who doesn't know how to speak English, versus Dage on SpeedGaming 2. So yeah, we still have 2 more matches today. Those should be pretty interesting. So anything else, Frogs?
That's all I've got for now.
All right. I guess thank you all for watching, and hopefully we'll see you later today. Goodbye.